So Nate, you said to me earlier you wanted to discuss the sort of difference and the way that the difference between equality and equity can impact society.
Yeah, well, I think about equality a lot. I've been thinking about equality for many years, and I do think it's morally right and righteous that we should aspire to create as equal a society as possible. And that's because I value every individual human life. I'm confident that most humans come into this world wanting to live a satisfying life and wanting to live a positive life. So, a lot of it for me comes down to quality of life and what quality of life we can give people. Um, but what I've realised in throughout the last few years through some personal experiences is that, and also because I've embraced atheism and a scientific understanding of the world, I've realised that the natural world certainly doesn't have any equality in it. You know, the natural world is about natural selection. It's about survival of the fittest. Successful genes procreate and create a new generation, and some genes are deficient and malfunctioning from birth. And this is why we see, people born with severe intellectual disabilities. They'll never comprehend science. They'll never comprehend physics. They'll never comprehend all these great ideas because they simply don't have the mental capacity for it. And it's like the question of if you take two people and they both want to be a fantastic basketball player and they both train as hard as each other for as many years, will they both become as good as Michael Jordan? And if you'd asked me many years ago, I would have told you that yes, if they train as hard as each other and if they practice, they will both be able to achieve the skills of Michael Jordan in basketball. But what I've realised in recent years is that's not the case. Some people are born with an advantage. They are born more capable at athletics or music or computing or science. Some people are just born more capable than others, It's like Einstein. Did Einstein become one of the world's greatest scientists because he studied a lot, or was he born more intelligent? That's the question. And what I've come to realise is Einstein was probably born with that advantage. He was probably born with intellectual superiority. So, as I said, what I've realised is nature is not an equal playing field. The reality is some people are born with conditions that will end their life within a few years of their birth. And that's just how the natural world works. And if you're an atheist, you understand that it is just survival, it is just natural selection. And unfortunately, some people are born deficient or with severe disabilities. So we try to improve quality of life for people in the modern world. In the old days, you hear these horror stories about families locking the Down syndrome child in the basement and hiding them out of shame. And that's how it was in past centuries. But in the modern world, we try to help people live quality lives. We try and lift up people's quality of life so that everyone is on a more equal playing field. And that's equity. And that's why we have mental health services and disability services like the NDIS, and why we have different classes for people with different mental capacities so that we can tailor our education and our services to people so that we can get the best result, so that hopefully every individual gets to live a rewarding and satisfying life. So we in our pursuit of equality, we can't try and say that nature is an equal system or that there is anything fair or equal in nature, because there certainly isn't. It's just not the reality of the natural world. So we try to create equity by providing appropriate social services to help individuals live satisfying and rewarding lives. And in a way, this is what the Voice to Parliament is about, because we acknowledge Indigenous populations have been disadvantaged for so long since colonisation. So now we're going to give them a stronger platform to represent themselves, to bring their community up to the same level as everybody else, and hopefully that's what the Voice to Parliament achieves. But the big realisation I wanted to stress is we are fighting against the laws of the universe in trying to achieve equality because things aren't even. The universe isn't even. The principles of nature are just survival of the fittest and natural selection. So we've decided as a society in recent years that we want to strive towards equity and to try and create a more equal society, and I think that's morally right. But we have to realise what we're up against. My support worker Alan said it's like the disabled Olympics. We acknowledge that handicapped people can't compete against people without those handicaps, so they have their own Olympics where they can compete against people on their skill levels and win awards and enjoy that satisfaction of winning in competition. But we realise that nature is a competition, and really we're not born equal. We're not equal with one another. We're quite different. We're quite varied, and people have varying skill sets and abilities. So that's just, as an atheist, the unfortunate reality of the natural world. So it's that realisation I wanted to share today. But I do emphasise I believe in lifting quality of life, and I believe in social services and disability services so that people can live the best quality lives that we can help them live. And I also believe in democracy. The government serves the people, so it is the role of government to do everything in its power to ensure that individuals live quality, satisfying lives. So we should certainly strive towards equality, even if equality doesn't exist in nature.